Rory Robertson grew up in a family of psychologists. As a child, he heard a lot of talk about the brain, and as a rebellious teenager, he decided to go in a different direction. Since he had always been interested in food, Rory began studying human nutrition, but in the end, he did not avoid studying the brain. Moreover, he studies two brains. What kind of second brain is this and how it appeared? We will figure it out in today's episode. In 1845, an inquisitive boy was born in the Russian Empire, who grew up to become an amazing scientist, Ilya Mechnikov. He made an invaluable contribution to science. In 1908, he received the Nobel Prize for his study of phagocytes, important cells of the immune system. But his subsequent discoveries were even more important for understanding human health. We all spent the first 9 months of our existence in our mother's womb, and it was an almost sterile environment. But after birth, we are enveloped in an invisible shell of microbes. From the mother's birth canal, these bacteria later formed an invisible 1.5 kilogram organ in our colon. And so, as the brain knows, the name of this most important organ is microbiota or microbiome. Now 90% of the cells in your body are bacterial cells, and only 10% are your own human cells. So you are more of a bacteria than a person. The bacteria in our intestines digest certain foods, produce essential vitamins and hormones, respond to medications and infections, and control blood sugar and cholesterol levels. They are involved in almost all processes in the body and function almost like a second brain. Ilya Mechnikov found this out in 1892. At that time he lived in Paris, where a cholera epidemic was raging. Mechnikov decided to investigate the disease on himself and drank a decoction of cholera vibrios. But he didn't get sick. His colleague did the same and also remained healthy, but another colleague got sick and almost died. Mechnikov discovered that some types of bacteria from the human intestine support and stimulate the growth of Vibrio cholerae, while others suppress it. At that time, the intestines were considered a harmful reservoir of toxins. Mechnikov died in 1916, and the idea of the benefits of intestinal bacteria was forgotten. And then the era of antibiotics came, and humanity began a war with bacteria. According to Rory Robertson, our intestinal forests have become wastelands. But fortunately, humanity is beginning to realize the importance of microbiota. However, we do not fully understand the role of bacteria as our second brain. An interesting experiment was conducted. Mice were injected with the microbe Toxoplasma gondii. As a result, the rodents not only stopped being afraid of cats, but also became attached to them. Unfortunately for the mice, the poor creatures usually became dinner for the cats. This experiment shows how much microbes influence our behavior. The brain is made up of hundreds of billions of neurons that constantly send signals telling us how to work and behave. Interestingly, there are 100 million neurons in the human intestine. Additionally, the microbiome is the center of the immune system, which means disruptions in it can affect brain health over long-term exposure. Finally, 90% of serotonin, a natural antidepressant, is produced in the gut, while less than 10% is produced in the brain. Research shows that feeding certain strains of bacteria can affect memory, stress behavior, and hormones in animals. How can we help our microbiota? Rory Robertson and colleagues from the Microbiome Institute in Ireland, and other scientists from around the world, have compiled a list of foods that can serve as prebiotics, that is, stimulate the growth of beneficial bacteria in the intestines. The list includes whole grains, apples, leeks, onions, garlic, bananas, asparagus, honey, artichokes, nuts and seeds, root vegetables, beans and lentils, chickpeas, green tea extract, cocoa and red wine extracts. Rory Robertson believes we should appreciate more the microbes that live inside us. There is food for thought here. Don't forget to like and subscribe.